It's hard to argue the electric car is a fluke anymore. We've had hybrids like the Prius for more than 20 years and all-electric versions like the Leaf since 2010. And while you can make the case that their popularity and utility is largely limited to cities, the same could be said of subways and airports and taco trucks, and nobody wants to get rid of them. But the world of 2019 is a very different one from 2010, and the Leaf now has a hell of a lot of competition to win the hearts and minds of eco-conscious consumers these days. And while news of a Leaf Plus model coming later this year with a larger battery pack, a faster recharge rate, a more powerful electric motor, and 226 miles of range is very welcome, it's just not as impressive as it would have been even a couple of years ago. So the question is, which one should you buy? Now, the original Leaf could only go about 70 miles on a charge, and this year every Leaf can go twice that and recover 90 miles of range in about 30 minutes if you have a level 3 charger. But back when I tested the last generation Leaf just a couple of years ago, it could only muster about 100 miles on a full charge, and that was still more than enough for me during my entire week of testing, including a day that I spent going up to wine country. Now, it definitely needed some juice by the time I made it back, but it did make it, and that's what matters. After all, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So now the Leaf is in its second generation, and a lot of the weak points have been addressed. The speedo is in the right place now, and this audio system is a big improvement with standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, as long as you don't get the base S trim, which you shouldn't. That version doesn't come with a level 3 charger, and if you add it on, the price is going to jump up to the point where it's within $1,000 of the SV trim, which gets a lot of other upgrades as well, like navigation and 17-inch alloys, so you might as well start there. There's standard auto emergency braking, and again, as long as you don't get the base S trim, which you shouldn't, you'll get standard adaptive cruise too. This year, every Nissan Leaf gets Nissan's new rear door alert, which should really be called rear seat alert, but they call it rear door alert because it's activated if you leave something in the back seat and get out and you don't open that rear door again. But come on, rear seat alert. Let's name for the function, not the operation. Regardless, I know this is intended to prevent kids and dogs from being left behind during hot days, but I don't really relish the idea of my car beeping and honking at me every time I leave my backpack or my groceries in the back seat while I go to run additional errands. But the big news this year is that Leaf Plus with its 226-mile range and more powerful motor. It's expected to command a $5,500 premium over the Leaf's base $30,000 MSRP, which means it comes within just a couple of $1,000s of competitors like the Bolt. But there's a problem. The Bolt's range is 240 miles, and the Kona Electric is reported to be 260, and let's not even talk about the Model 3. $5,500 is a lot of extra money to still come in 4th or 5th place with regard to range, and to me, that means an SV trim with 150 miles of range for $7 or $8,000 less than the equivalent of Bolt, that starts looking very attractive. Of course, we're just concentrating on range, and that's not all the Leaf Plus has to offer. The Plus's electric motor spins faster than the regular Leafs, which means it can achieve a 100-mile-an-hour top speed as opposed to the 93 I can get here. The infotainment screen there will be bigger at 8 inches versus the 7-inch unit I've got here, and it'll offer over-the-air updates. And it'll be faster too. The 160-kilowatt motor in the Plus offers the equivalent of 216 horsepower as opposed to 147 in the regular Leaf, which should cut the 7.4 second 0 to 60 time down quite a bit. But is it worth the extra money? $5,500 is a lot, but so is an extra 75 miles of range. Remember, that was about all the original Leaf could muster, and until last year it still couldn't do much better than that. But what really changes my mind and gives the Leaf an advantage over the competition is Nissan's ProPilot Assist. This is a low-level suite of semi-autonomous features that will steer, brake, and accelerate your car in single-lane situations, on the highway and stop-and-go traffic. It's available on all Leaf trims, as long as you don't get the base S trim, which you shouldn't. The Bolt system isn't as comprehensive, and the Kona will only offer similar tech in its top trim, and for me, that makes all the difference. So what do you think? Leaf? Leaf Plus, or something else entirely? At any rate, it feels good to finally have some options, doesn't it? Hey, thanks for watching. For full details on the 2019 Nissan Leaf, just click the link in the description. You can head over to cargurus.com and read my full review. And for videos of some of the competition, just subscribe to the channel.